So I watched Bridgerton and this is what I thought. Let's talk about Bridgerton. So I had heard about this show a while back. I saw on social media, on Twitter, that Shonda Rhimes would be creating a period drama. And I was like, I need to see it. Shonda Rhimes, yes. Period drama, yes. I love them. So I was like, I'm gonna have to see this show. Okay, so there will be spoilers, so I'm just warning you ahead of time. Bridgerton is a hate to love type of story. So we see the main characters are Simon, who is the Duke, and then we see Daphne Bridgerton. So it is the time of the season that all the young ladies are out in society and trying to find themselves a husband. And then when the Duke comes along, all the moms are like, oh, they want their daughters to marry him because he is of high standard and has a great title, and it would be like the best for their daughters. Daphne Bridgerton is one of the ladies out in society, and she is looking to also find a husband, and she has been told by the queen that she's the best prospect, and she really wants to marry for love. So Daphne and Simon accidentally bump into each other at a ball, and Daphne is really like not taken by the Duke, doesn't really know who he is, and thinks he's kind of rude. And then when her brother comes by, he ends up knowing the Duke, introduces them, and still they don't like each other. After a couple of balls, Daphne is still not able to get a gentleman caller or find a good guy to be her potential husband. So she is kind of looked at as not being great for a suitable match. And that is where the Duke comes in. The Duke does not want to get married at all, like never. So he devises a plan with Daphne that they should pretend to be courting and interested in each other, so that all the guys will be interested in Daphne since a Duke is interested in her, and then all the moms and the girls will stop putting their daughters towards the Duke since it looks like he is taken. So two people who don't really like each other decide to enter into a mutual agreement. For the Duke, it's just so he can not be bothered by anyone, and then for Daphne, it's so that she can find a great match and meet some more guys that will be potential interest in her and can be her husband. In the story, we do have a Lady Whistledown, and she has like a kind of like a gossip column, but she writes these gossips about the people in the town, and she says who's who, writes the good and the bad for all the gossip and the people. And she does write about Daphne and how like, oh, she doesn't look like she is a potential match. So that is why Daphne decides to enter in this agreement with Simon, because Lady Whistledown has basically declared her like not even good to be married. So she needs the Duke's help so that she can get some potential suitors so that she can find herself a husband. And let me just tell you, when I found out that the narrator for this show was Julie Andrews, I first heard it and I was like, I know that voice. And I was like, that's Julie Andrews. And I was so happy. I was like, this is the perfect person to narrate the show. So I was like, kudos to Bridgerton. Like, thank you for getting the perfect narrator. And Lady Whistledown, it does kind of reminded me of a Gossip Girl, like the show, because it is a woman who is writing kind of like gossip about these people in the town. She has a very influential voice. People believe what she says and takes it to heart. So it did kind of remind me of Gossip Girl in that way. And so when I was like watching the show, I was like, it's interesting they didn't name it Lady Whistledown. I like was thinking that for a while, like maybe that would have been a better title for the show. But then I was like, then after I was watching it and like viewing it, I was like, wait, I kind of glad they didn't name it Lady Whistledown, because I feel like the main focus would be on her, and that is not where the focus should be. The main story was on Daphne and Simon, so Daphne Bridgerton and then the Duke, who is Simon, and that is why it's called the Bridgertons. So the main focus is on this family, because honestly, I do not want this to turn into another Gossip Girl or like another Pretty Little Liars where we find out who A is, or Gossip Girl is and there's like tons of Lady Whistledowns all over. I just don't want to be a hot mess like that, so I really hope they like thought how they're going to reveal who Lady Whistledown is. One thing I really enjoyed about the show was how it was not dragged out. So in the show, Daphne and Simon, as I said before, are like the main characters, the main couple of this season. it's like, you know, a love-hate relationship. They don't really like each other at first, but then they do grow to love each other and have like a really good foundation, a good friendship and everything like that. But I thought they were going to drag this out, but in the first season they do end up falling in love. They do end up getting married, and at the very end you do see them having a child together. So I was very surprised at that, because honestly TV shows do tend to drag things out along to keep people's attention, but I was very happy that they didn't do that. Let's get more into Daphne and Simon, since they are the main focus of the show. Daphne and Simon, the Duke and then Daphne Bridgerton don't like each other, and then they kind of become friends while they're like helping each other out, and you do see a attraction and a bond, a relationship form between them. But this dude, the Duke, is like, nah, I am not getting married. I don't want to get married at all. I don't want to have kids. Like, I don't want to do any of that. And you kind of see he does that because of the way he was brought up. His father was very mean to him, was not a loving father. He wasn't even raised by his father. His mother died when he was born, and so his father only really liked him because he was a son. But then when his father thought he was like an imbecile, he was like not worthy of the Duke title, he kind of got rid of him. And thank goodness for the mother's friend raising this boy, and it's like, I believe in you, you can do whatever you want to do. Like, thank goodness for people like that in the world. Because of that, he grew up to be kind of the man he was gonna be, like, believe in himself, overcame his stutter that he had when he was little, and now he's a Duke and people like love him. The reason he doesn't want to get married is because on his father's deathbed, he told him, he's like, I will not let the Duke name will end with me. His father's all about legacy, like continuing his lineage, and he does not want to give his dad that satisfaction. So he wants to end the lineage with him, like the ultimate revenge to his father. But then that whole plan goes awry when him and Daphne start having this type of relationship, and I was like, oh man. So what he tells Daphne is like, I can't give you kids. I didn't really know what he meant by that at first, because I was like, well, how do you do that in this time period? Because this is like in the 1800s. Like, how do you stop yourself from like having a kid when you're married or everything like that? Him and Daphne forming this bond, and then they're like having feelings, but he's like, no, I'm not gonna marry you. And she's like, okay, I gotta find someone else, but she still has feelings for him. Then they end up being alone in a garden, which is risque at this time period, and then they kiss. And then her older brother sees them, punches the Duke, who is one of his best friends, and it's like, get away from my sister. You kissed her, so now you're gonna marry her. And she's already about to be engaged to this prince. Sorry, I'm like going on a tangent, but he's like, you kissed my sister, you're not gonna like ruin her purity. You're gonna marry her because of what you did. And then the Duke's like, no, I'm not gonna marry her. So then the brother's like, okay, we gonna duel. Daphne goes and stops the duel, and it's like, you can't do this. Someone did see us in the garden besides my brother, and they can tell and ruin my reputation, and then I can't be married. The Duke is still like, I'm not gonna marry you because I can't have children with you, and I know you want kids. And so she's like, you know what? It's fine. So she decides to marry him and like kind of give up the plan and the future she saw for herself. She doesn't just do it for herself, she does it for her family, because if people found out that she was kissed by a man before she was married, it would ruin not only her name and her family's name and the prospects for her sisters in the future. Like, they were looked as like damaged goods because of what Daphne had done. So Daphne agrees, and then the Duke agrees as well. They decide to get married, and they're both kind of not ecstatic about this. Like, they know they had some type of feeling in that garden, but then after that, after like the duel and all this happened, he's like, I don't want to marry you. I'd rather like die than marry you. She was like, I guess he really doesn't like me. So they are kind of entering this marriage not both extremely happy about it, because he feels like he is trapping her because he won't have kids with her, and then she feels like she's trapping him as well. But finally, when they get on their own and they kind of talk, they realize they do have feelings for each other. They're like inseparable by then. Then Daphne finds out about why he won't really give her kids. He does have the ability to give her kids, but he decided not to. So when they are intimate, he doesn't finish. And she is very innocent, very pure. She's never had sex before, anything, so she doesn't really know and doesn't realize what he's doing. But then she kind of ask someone, give me all the details, like what is this, and realize what he's actually doing, and she is upset. And she's like fine with giving that up because she thought he couldn't, but then when she found out he could, and he was just deciding not to, and he just assumed she knew what he was doing. And so they get in this huge fight, argument, and they decide like they can't get over this, so they're gonna leave each other, put on appearances for a little while, and then they're gonna leave each other because like they're not compromising. They're like, she wants kids, he doesn't, he's not willing to give it up, she's not willing to give it up. But eventually in the end they decide to they really do care about each other and love each other, and they decide, you know what, we're gonna forgive each other, we're gonna get over this. So he does decide like they're gonna have kids, and in the end you do see her giving birth to a son. So I am interested to see how season 2 goes. My predictions for season 2. What will be the focus? I'm interested to see, since it is called Bridgerton, I do think that Daphne and Simon will be a part of season 2, of course, but I don't know if their story will be the main story. I know the older brother, the Viscount, he was trying to figure out like where does he belong in the family, trying to like be the head of the family, and at the end of the season he says he wants to like find someone to be a lady and be his wife. So I'm interested to see if season 2 will mostly focus on his relationship and his journey to finding a wife. I would love to see Simon and Daphne's relationship and how their family, how they are progressing as, you know, a couple in a family in the season 2. If they will continue to show them as much as they did in the first season. If they will show their relationship, they'll probably have more problems. I'm wondering if they will have more kids, or if they kind of compromise and decide to only have one kid and it did end up being a boy. So I'm very interested to see how their relationship is in season 2. Definitely, I don't think it's happily ever after just one season. I do think there is more to learn about them. But since we kind of did see their relationship start and kind of get a happy place, like a content place, and like where they're both loving and kind of compromising, and a good place in their relationship and family, I am wondering if, since it is called Bridgerton, if we will focus on another family member. Another thing I really loved about the show is the diversity. I love period dramas so much. I've seen so many like movies or even like TV shows. I know I really like Downton Abbey. There's one on Netflix, a limited series called North and South I really like. Pride and Prejudice I enjoy. So things like that I really like. But you know, because of that time period you don't really see any you don't really see African American or any black people and things like that. So just seeing that in this show and seeing it as a period drama, it like made me love it 10 times more. Like I was so excited to watch it just because of the diversity aspect. And yeah, that was what I thought of the Bridgerton first season. I really loved it. I'm thinking about rewatching it because I loved it so much. I really love Daphne and Simon's relationship. I'm interested to see what will happen in season 2. A lot of people calling this like the next Downton Abbey. I do think if you like period dramas, if you like Downton Abbey, you probably like this. It is not as innocent. A lot of period dramas are very innocent, very sweet, just like hand holding, and like maybe the most chemistry you'll see is a kiss. This is definitely more than that. So if you don't like that aspect, if you don't like, there's gonna be a lot of like intimacy in this show. So if you don't like that, maybe this isn't the show for you. But I really like this. I think I would want to give it a 5 out of 5 stars, maybe a 4.5. But like I'm thinking, is 5 too much? But I really liked it. Okay, so that is what I thought of the show Bridgerton. Have you seen it? What did you think after watching the first season? Well, thanks for joining me with this review of Bridgerton. Please leave your comments below on what you thought, and if you have any other suggestions of period dramas, please put them in the comments below. I would love to check them out because they are one of my favorite things to watch. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.